Mehbooba Mufti cracked down on several villages of Kathua district simultaneously and let loose a reign of terror. Hundreds of young men, innocent young men, including teenagers, were arrested, arbitrarily taken into police custody, tortured in order to coerce false
Madhuji,
confessions
when
out
they
of them.
had this Talib Hussain had already zeroed in on, for whatever reasons, on Sanjiram and Deepak Kajuria, etc. Why did she do this? I mean, what was the need to inflict such torture on so many people when they had already fabricated their charges against these few individuals?
The idea is not to target two men, na? The idea is to terrorize the entire Hindu community in order for them to flee Kathua district, especially these bordering villages. It was a very well planned game to terrorize Hindus into fleeing their villages. And indeed, people of those villages where there were daily raids, especially at night, abandoned their villages, including all of Rasana village, actually emptied out, and people took shelter on the national highway under a banyan tree next to a temple. And they would, in the freezing winter, imagine of January, February in Jammu, they were sitting out protesting for months on end. They did not dare go back to their homes or to their villages. And even when I went there first time in April end, they were still there in
So
large
they
numbers
were
every
outside.
day
They were like left to the elements, like they didn't have shelter.
under a tree, and maybe they would go sleep in the temple nearby or a school nearby, or some may have gone to some relative's house at night. But most of them actually had to take shelter in the temple or in a school building at night. And in the daytime, they would come and sit on dharna, demanding nothing more than a CBI probe. They begged and pleaded with the government, central government, that Mehbooba Mufti was actually um, targeting them with malicious intent, and that there should be a fair probe, independent probe by CBI, because J&K police was totally under her thumb.
True.
And she was able to get away with murder at that time. And sadly enough, the entire national media, including the Supreme Court, who again was approached for CBI probe, they said, "Oh, you're turning pro rapist." They turned down the demand for a CBI probe, and anybody who stood up to demand a CBI probe, then all these megaphones, hounds, Barkhadat, Nidhi Razdan, that entire Lutyens
Yes.
cabal went ballistic, saying, um, a temple is involved in rape, murder, and gory crime, and here are these people defending rapists. So anybody who demanded a fair probe was turned pro-rapist, and two ministers of the government, who were prime targets of Mehbooba Mufti, had to resign because she demanded their resignation since they led protest demonstrations demanding
CBI
a
proof.
fair probe. In fact, the Bar Association of Jammu, the Bar Association of Kathua, they marched. I mean, it's very unprecedented. Hindus never come
Yes.
in support of
Yes.
rapists. It's the other way around. The Mazhabis do. They love their criminals.
We
We
don't.
don't. We don't do that. We're too embarrassed if such a crime is committed, and people just
So there
step
was a
back.
complete, the evidence which was not there was not taken into account. As in, like you said, in the post-mortem report,
No evidence
there's no evidence.
presented.
How can then? How did they create this case, Madhuji? How did they create a case?
The evidence is all on the contrary side, on the other side, which is they are saying, for example, Vishal Jangotra had to prove, and the judge was not really willing to buy it, except that there was ZTV footage. He's saying, but I was appearing in the examination at that time, and he wouldn't believe it. Or other kind of very strong evidence that existed. For example, they couldn't even prove that these seven accused ever talked to each other, leave alone met to plan a sinister crime. They had no such. The call records could not prove any such thing. So they would not even give the call records. The only thing they said is their calls were on the same tower. Now, the point is, I mean,
That
if you
doesn't
are
prove
living in
anything.
Kathua, yeah, and there are three cops handling this case. They were part of the first investigative team. Also, Mehbooba Mufti fired the first investigative team and she appointed another special investigative team, bringing them all from Kashmir.
Oh,
She didn't trust the Jammu team to do her bidding fully, though some Jammu officers, including this very, I don't know, I feel ashamed to say, but some Hindu officers also played foul. Played foul. I have named them all.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.